Hello, everyone. If you can hear me, give me a thumbs up at the bottom corner, and I will welcome Mary McCarthy, my co-host, to the stage as well. Okay, I got some thumbs up. Awesome. So the platform's a little more interactive this year. Well, as Mary is joining us, welcome everyone to the Walleye Tank Ice Fishing Edition 2021. I think it's safe to say that most of us were hoping this competition was going to be in person at Mayo. However, due to the high COVID cases here in our state, we're going to do our part to stop the spread of the virus and be here virtually with one another. So on behalf of both of us at Mayo Clinic Office of Entrepreneurship and the University of Minnesota's Technology Commercialization Office, we are so grateful that you are joining us for the fourth time virtually in this environment for the celebration of life science innovation. I am Raina Hale. I'm an educator in the Office of Entrepreneurship at Mayo. Our office provides educational content for life science innovation through the Lean Startup methodology. We teach employees across the Mayo Clinic enterprise with CME credits, graduate level education, and certificates. I also run the Hatchery, which is our external facing wet lab incubator that is in Rochester. If you have questions about the wet lab space, feel free to come and find me later on. And this is my co-host, Mary McCarthy. She is the Senior Program Manager in the Venture Center at the University of Minnesota. She is responsible for coaching startups, managing the university's equity-based seed program, and developing the regional startup ecosystem through producing free events and pitch competitions. She has been in healthcare and a professional consultant for over 20 years, including Medtronic, and she currently serves as a board observer for the Atomic Corp and chairs the board of directors for Roundtable RX. Thanks, Mary.
Happy to be here.
All right, today we are showcasing 12 fascinating life science startups and 12 walleyes who will be judging the winners in each division. All teams will have 2 minutes to pitch, followed by 2 minutes of questions from these judges. As an audience member, please use the Q&A to add or vote on any questions you'd like to suggest to the walleyes. That can be found in the chat on the right-hand side of your screen. If you have any technical issues, please contact the little question bubble on the very bottom left-hand side of your screen. It is a real person, not a chat box for Remo. You can also reach out to the rest of our department via the chat to Dr. Martin Rotman or Dr. Anu Sridhar. They can also help you if you have any questions during this presentation. This year, we've made a few enhancements to the Walleye Tank. We've added a student division, which, after we had all of our applications, we decided to make the junior division, which is still all students. They are fantastic competitors that you will be witnessing first in the judging round. There are also mid-level reelers with 4 teams and professional division with 5 teams. Another enhancement we've made is we're bringing back cash prizes, and they're bigger than ever. At around $345, we are going to be giving away $20,000 of cash value to the 3 divisions. There is $2,000 for the juniors, $8,000 for the mid, and $10,000 for the professionals. This was from the kind contributions of the University of Minnesota Medical School and our office at Mayo Clinic in the Office of Entrepreneurship. But first, before everything else, I would like to introduce you to our featured speaker, Kari Snaza, the newly appointed Chief Strategy Officer here at Mayo Clinic. Kari, go ahead and turn your camera and microphone on.
Good afternoon. Can everyone hear me okay? Hear and see me?
Yes, we can hear and see you. I'd like to introduce you first, though. Kari is the Chief Strategy Officer here at Mayo Clinic. Her department includes strategic intelligence, development, planning, the enterprise portfolio management office, and internal consulting divisions to provide a comprehensive suite of services to support the organization from strategy to execution. Prior to joining Mayo Clinic, Kari has spent 15 years with United Health Group in leadership roles across the Optum and United Healthcare business. As an entrepreneur at heart, Kari's professional experience also includes founding a social wellness startup, Walkway, serving as Techstars advisor to early stage ventures, and board service and consulting engagements with various healthcare organizations. She received her Bachelor of Science in Business Administration from the Carlson School of Management at the University of Minnesota and her MBA from the Fuqua School of Business at Duke. She is also a certified Lean Six Sigma Green Belt Please, everyone, put your hands together and give a warm welcome to Kari.
Thank you so much, Rena, and thanks everybody. It is wonderful to be here. I must say, coming from a family of entrepreneurs, being born and raised in Minnesota, being alumni of the U of M, this feels like the perfect cross section of all that I stand for, and it's so energizing to be with you today. First and foremost, I just want to recognize the incredible partnership that the U of M and Mayo have established together. When I was looking back at this Translational Product Development Fund, there's been pretty impressive progress. In total, since 2015, there have been 33 different projects that have been supported with pushing $10 million awarded. And from that, we've seen 6 really strong success stories emerge with different licenses, one of them being a U of M startup, one being a Mayo startup, and 4 being external early stage organizations. And so I'm excited to be here today and to kick you off, and hopefully we'll have an opportunity to say you saw it here first at Walleye Tank. So today I'm honored to be here speaking on behalf of Mayo Clinic. We are one of the proud sponsors of this amazing event, and it's great to bring together so many innovators across the state of Minnesota. I applaud all of you for attending to really apply and exercise your imagination, your skills, and your expertise to improve healthcare. And whether you're tackling problems that are commonplace or uncommon, big or small, we're all a part of the solution. So from a Mayo Clinic perspective, I was asked to speak a little bit about our 2030 strategy and where we see the future of healthcare going. But before we look forward, I wanted to take a step back. And when you think about Mayo Clinic's history, there have been so many treatments, procedures, and innovations that started at Mayo since its inception more than 150 years ago. Think about things like establishing the first hospital blood bank, discovering cortisone. Mayo Clinic actually received a Nobel Prize for that. Or really doing the first FDA-approved hip replacement. I have to say, starting at Mayo Clinic as the Chief Strategy Officer 7 months ago, it's been an energizing experience because every day I am surrounded by physician and business scientists that are discovering and coming up with these new inventions. So Mayo Clinic has long been a healthcare pioneer, but I think now is the most exciting inflection point in Mayo Clinic's history. We're truly taking the best of what has made Mayo great over the course of the past 150 years and throwing that forward into our Bold Forward 2030 strategy. It's pretty simple to understand, so I'll give you the punchline. It's all centered on the concepts of cure, connect, and transform. From a cure perspective, simply stated, Mayo Clinic is looking to serve on the bleeding edge of medicine, discovering new cures, new treatments, and new protocols. And that happens fast at Mayo, and it happens fast because of partnerships like this and because of our integrated team-based approach to care, where we really take the best of research, of education, and of practice, bringing it together within Mayo Clinic and also in partnership with external collaborators like we're doing here today. The second pillar of our strategy is focused on connecting. And in that way, everything that's made Mayo Clinic great, if you think about the best-in-class digital rather destination medical centers, we're channeling that experience and taking it from brick and mortar and bringing that to life digitally to really find the optimal blend of a physical experience and a digital experience. And I know many of the startups in this community are focused in that digital and virtual space. And finally, transform. We are seeking to entirely revolutionize the way that healthcare is delivered and experienced. And it's hard to imagine. This Bold Forward strategy was actually conceived in 2019, so pre-pandemic. And in 2.5 years, in the middle of a pandemic, our Mayo Clinic platform has actually come to life. It went from a nebulous concept to a place where we're able to integrate data, to work with external organizations to partner and to develop new algorithms and AI applications to really take data from insights and bring it into applications and common use. We're partnering with Google Health in a joint venture. We're partnering with MIT, and we're partnering with innovators like you day in and day out to bring this all to reality. So with that, I just wanted to offer you all a little piece of advice and word of wisdom as you step into the Walleye Tank experience today. And that is one of open-mindedness and resilience. I shared with a few of you. I've been on the other side of this table before. I've participated in the Minnesota Cup. I've had my own startups, and as an entrepreneur, I truly believe the defining characteristic that we all need to carry is one of resilience. And you don't know where this journey will take you. But I will tell you, my startup experience is the most transformational experience I've had in my entire career. I learned more from that than I have in my corporate pursuits or my MBA combined. And I'm confident that all of you will walk away better, maybe swim away better, just for being a part of it, and surrounding yourself with this supportive community. So with that, I'll leave you with one quote from Dr. William J. Mayo, our founding father, and that is, "The glory of medicine is that it's constantly moving forward and that there's always more to learn." So with that, embrace your resilience, approach today with an open mind, think about what you can learn from, what you can take forward. And thank you for having me this afternoon. I just really look forward to learning more about what problems your imaginations and expertise have chosen to solve, and how you plan about going about that. Thanks so much. Best of luck, Rena and Mary. Thanks for offering me the opportunity to make some opening remarks.
Yes, thank you so much. Let's give a warm welcome again to Kari. Thanks for joining us. With that, we are going to kick off the junior division. Kari, you can go ahead and turn your camera and microphone off. And our first judge of the day is going to be Dr. Carla Fromater. So if you want to go ahead and turn on your camera and microphone, Dr. Fromater, I will introduce you. Dr. Fromater is a neuroscientist from Honduras. In 2018, she joined Mayo Clinic Ventures as a technology development manager, where she works closely with Mayo innovators to identify intellectual property for the diagnostics, biotherapeutics, and individualized medicine space. Welcome, Dr. Fromater. Another judge we will have is Carlin Cush. Please go ahead and turn on your microphone. Marlon is a senior healthcare worker with 14 years of law firm and public company in-house experience, helping organizations mature, build capacity, and execute on strategic initiatives while carefully navigating rapidly evolving regulatory and commercial landscapes. He currently serves as a senior counsel at Change Healthcare, where he supports a suite of technology businesses to drive improved clinical, financial, and patient engagement outcomes. Welcome back, Marlon.
Glad to be here.
Our final judge is Polly Israni. Please go ahead and turn your camera and microphone on and join me on the stage. Polly Israni is the global marketing lead for healthcare and life science at Google Cloud. Polly leads a team charged with communicating the value of Google Cloud's healthcare-specific solutions to healthcare and life science organizations. Welcome, Polly.
Thank you. Glad to be here as well.
All right. So judges, I will ask you to keep your cameras on, but mute yourself. And I'm going to welcome up our first competitor to the stage, Kate France from Smile LLC. Will you go ahead and turn on your camera and microphone and share your screen?
Hello, everyone.
All right, give me 1 second. I want to make sure that we see everything before you begin. We slides, and I think we can hear you. I will start the timer when you are ready.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Kate France, and I am the creator of the Medical Assistance via Quick Response Code Bracelet, or MAQR, as in don't meet your maker, meet your MAQR. Medical emergencies, one of the scariest things that can happen to anyone, and they can happen for a large variety of reasons, included what's listed on the screen. But oftentimes it's not the big shiny ambulance with a full knowledge of how to utilize an epinephrine autoinjector. No, it's not a smiling EMT that's the first to arrive on the scene, but is in fact friends, family, and strangers on the street. Total bystanders who are only able to help with information provided to them by medical IDs. Medical IDs can have a huge variance in how much they cost, from $20 to well over $100. Yet they only contain around 4 lines of text. Now, this is truly not enough information to help in a medical emergency. This is why I created my system of QR code-based medical bracelets. With my bracelets, our consumers are able to select the information that they would like and securely store it in our HIPAA-secured data server. Then, with a single scan of a smartphone, our QR codes can pull up a nearly limitless amount of information, including the simple plain text words on how for bystanders to provide the critical life-saving help needed within the first few moments of a medical emergency. My company is called Smile, Scientists Making Your Life Easier LLC, and it is something I started back when I was in high school. We're working on expanding our company and are currently seeking an advisory board with expertise in business, marketing, design, and technology. For more information, you can look at our website link on the left side of the screen. And yes, it's via QR code, of course. And in conclusion, my name is Kate France. I am the creator of the Medical Assistance via Quick Response Code bracelet. And with MAQR bracelets, help is only one scan away. Thank you.
Awesome. With a few seconds to go. Excellent job, Kate. You can go ahead and stop sharing your screen. And judges, please unmute yourself and fire away.
I'll jump in. I have a question here. So
Yes.
this is very cool. I guess the first question that comes to mind is, how do you think about security and privacy? Because I can see like people having concerns, patients having concerns about being hacked.
Yep, a great question. So the first thing that is very integral to this company is that the information that's stored on the bracelet is all chosen by the wearer. We don't mandate anything, so it's a self-selection bias. And later modules of the bracelet, if that's something that people are concerned about, we can actually have the QR code hidden. So that way it requires an extra step, so you can't just be walking down the street and have a stranger scan it. It would be something that requires effort in an emergency.
So I have an additional question. I agree that this is a very, very cool idea because I have, people that wear the medical bracelets, and I know that they're not, the best. How often do you see customers having to update their QR code, or would the QR code be protected enough that it wouldn't wear off in case of an emergency? Is it accurate?
Yes. So the QR codes are laser etched. So if you're asking about the physical code itself, the code itself is very sturdy. And then once a customer has set up a profile with us, they're actually able to log in and update that information. So oftentimes people will have updates to their medical history, and rather than having to buy a whole new bracelet, it can be updated on their mobile profile.
And what would be the pricing for that subscription, for example?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're still figuring out the numbers for that, but I'm looking at about $100 for the bracelet and then a subscription cost of $50.
20 seconds. Any other questions?
Pretty cool idea. I think I must revert back. I'm still thinking about the privacy piece, especially from a lawyer standpoint. But in terms of, as you have these wearers looking at paying $100, which is probably the cost of the current ones, do you anticipate, you also anticipate a subscription fee?
Yes, so that's something that we're determining at this stage. It's something that is definitely still up in the air. And with the cost of the bracelet, that would include like multiple watch bands to go along with it. It wouldn't just be the bracelet itself. It would be kind of a starter kit because you'd want different bracelets depending on, informal events, everyday wear, and things like that.
Wonderful. Thank you. We're going to have to cut you off there. Thanks, Kate. And we will bring up Derek Prusner from Car Seal. Derek, go ahead and turn your camera and microphone on.
Hello, everybody. Let me share my screen real quick. All right, can I just get a confirmation that everybody's able to see this?
We can hear you and we can see your slides. Oh, it's still thinking
Great.
on my end. When you're ready, I will start the timer, Derek.
All right. Hi, my name is Derek Prusner, and I'll be representing our team, CarSeal. For endovascular procedures, no device exists for effective closure of the carotid artery. Stroke is one of the leading causes of death in the US, with 700,000 ischemic strokes annually. Longer strokes increase the risk of long-term disability as 1.9 million neurons are lost per minute. The gold standard for endovascular thrombectomy is through the femoral artery, which generally takes 57 minutes. While effective, 16.5% of these procedures fail, often due to tortuous vasculature. In contrast, research suggests that transcarotid access reduces the time to 26 minutes, saving 60 million neurons. The number of thrombectomies performed annually has grown exponentially since 2010, but there is still unmet demand as only 10% of cases that could benefit from thrombectomies receive them. To solve this issue, we present CarSeal, our innovative device that leverages the geometry of two concentric cones. First, the inlay plate and cone are deployed on its side through an 8 French catheter. Once in the vessel, the surgeon pulls back on the device to guide the inlay cone through the opening and secure the plate against the vessel wall, blocking the majority of bleeding. The onlay cone is then connected outside the vessel along with collagen to stop residual bleeding. Current closure devices are unable to meet the challenges of the carotid's high-pressure environment. Only CarSeal has both a low-profile intravascular and sturdy extravascular component, creating a safe and effective seal. The target price for our device is $400. We feel that at a minimum, we can comfortably obtain $128 million of the market based on the 320,000 annual US thrombectomies. This is just the floor though, as a successful closure device can be expanded beyond thrombectomies to endovascular procedures in other disciplines such as cardiology. Globally, there are 7 million endovascular procedures annually, setting our potential target at $2.8 billion. Our team is comprised of 5 Georgia Tech engineers, as well as Dr. Robbie Talk and Dr. Ricardo Domingo from the Mayo Clinic Neurosurgery Department. Combining our clinical and engineering backgrounds will help us turn this idea into reality. Thank you for your time, and I will now take any questions.
Have you been able to test a prototype?
Yes, so we have recently just conducted some testing on 4x scale. With the equipment that we currently have at Georgia Tech, we've scaled up our device to 3D print it, and we've done some testing in a Penrose drain, which is scaled up size, but comparable in terms of its elasticity to the carotid artery. So what we found with our testing so far is that we're able to prevent leakage at mean arterial pressures that are beyond what the normal mean arterial pressure is for patients. So we feel comfortable moving forward as we scale down our device that it will create an effective seal for the carotid artery.
Kind of adding to that, is there a plan for a clinical trial or something at a bigger scale?
Yeah, so our next steps moving forward is we've actually just filed a provisional patent application as of yesterday, and we'll be moving forward with this idea to scale down and develop the other deployment housings that are needed for this device. So once those prototypes are complete and we have a high fidelity prototype of the entire process, we plan to do preclinical testing. We'll be presenting at a conference in March and then hopefully publishing some findings by the summer.
I feel like you answered all the relevant questions I had. So maybe I'll just ask one that's out there. Who would be, your target, like strategic partner or acquisition, company?
As far as acquisition partners, we definitely feel that there are competitors in this field who would be interested. Mainly Abbott or companies like Medtronic, Boston Scientific are also developing these devices. They may be interested. There's also a company called Silk Road Medical. They do a lot of procedures it's called TCAR for transcarotid revascularization. And that was something we found early on in the process. And we feel that our closure device could fit very well within their suite of products. So they could be a potential partner down the road as well.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Derek.
Thank you.
We'll have you stop the screen and turn off your camera and microphone and welcome our last junior team. This is EpiBand, and it will be presented by Gauri Sood. Go ahead, Gori, and you can turn on your camera and microphone.
Hi, everyone. I will share my screen. All right. Is everybody able to see that? Awesome. Thank you. Okay. We are EpiBand. Our team consists of physicists, biomedical engineers, and entrepreneurs, and is backed by a Mayo Clinic physician in allergy medicine. I'm not sure if you have ever experienced anaphylaxis, but I have, and it's not fun. I'm one of the 6.6 million people in the US.
Gori, whenever you start talking, I can see your screen right now, and I can see your video whenever you start talking.
I'm sorry. I started talking. Were you able to hear me?
Sorry, I think
Okay.
she's having some connection problems. Please, why don't we just have you start from the beginning and then I can set a timer. Sound
Okay.
good? Okay.
Yes. Thank you. Okay. We are EpiBand. Our team consists of physicists, biomedical engineers, and entrepreneurs, and is backed by a Mayo Clinic physician in allergy medicine. I'm not sure if you have ever experienced anaphylaxis, but I have, and it is not fun. I'm one of the 6.6 million people in the US who has allergies severe enough to trigger an anaphylactic reaction. Reactions such as mine cost the US health system $1.2 billion of annual direct costs for treatment in emergency room settings. A significant contributor to these costs is poor compliance, with reports showing that 60% of people don't have their EpiPen with them during anaphylaxis. Our market research suggests that the bulky form factor of epinephrine autoinjectors is a primary driver for poor compliance, increasing the risk for hospitalization or death following anaphylaxis. Rather than a typical watch strap, our solution, the EpiBand, attaches right to your current watch. The entire housing is enclosed in the watch strap and case to safely deliver epinephrine, allowing you to leave your bulky pen at home. The EpiBand is designed to be quickly detachable, allowing rapid deployment at the press of a button. Our idea was conceptualized in a Mayo graduate entrepreneurship course we placed at Mayo Clinic's Alligator Tank, and we've worked with Adam Salmi from Maker Clinic to develop a minimum viable product in just 4 months because people need this right now. Just in Olmsted County, there's an 8% increase in epinephrine autoinjector prescriptions each year, and this is consistent with global trends of an increase in anaphylaxis prevalence. With 1 in 5 Americans wearing a smartwatch or fitness tracker, we're uniquely positioned to capitalize on the shift from hospital-based medicine to home-based medicine, driven in part by technology companies with smartwatch manufacturing interests. There's no better time than now for the EpiBand. Unlike the current EpiPen business model, where one unit is $350, we hope to charge $250. $250 multiplied by the estimate of 6.6 million Americans with severe allergies equates to a yearly revenue potential of $1.65 billion. We hope to charge less than the current model of EpiPens due to the immense need for the device and the many people who can't afford an EpiPen currently. Thank you. We look forward to your ideas and support to take this forward, and now open for questions.
Great job. Raina, are you back live? Is your connection good?
Yes.
Okay. So judges, go ahead and I will mute myself.
Sorry, I will start. I really like this idea. I think it's a very clever idea. I am in tech transfer, so I was wondering, what is your IP or intellectual property position? Do you have anything filed?
So we're currently working with Mayo Clinic Ventures on IP protection. That's kind of where we're at right now. Yeah, so we have to take that step currently.
Got it. So, as a father with 2 kids with severe allergies who constantly, well, every year I EpiPens at their school because they expire and need to be replaced. So one of the things that really popped to me is in terms of the bands, storage of the medicine as well as replacement. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So one of our biggest aspects to this is that as an Apple Watch shows up with 2 separate straps, we want to have 2 straps with 2 doses of epinephrine. And that's what a typical epinephrine case would hold for your child or for me, 2 separate doses. And so that's one of the things we want to do. Another thing is that we want to keep the watch strap temperature controlled, as I'm sure you're aware that leaving an EpiPen in a car for 20 to 30 minutes in the Minnesota cold is practically ruining the epinephrine. There is recent data epinephrine viability and how it lasts over a year, and we hope to kind of research and capitalize on that possibly and see this as epinephrine that could last for even over a year. But otherwise, the main goal of the device is for taking into account that temperature controlling issue, the issue of forgetting your epinephrine, and the double doses.
So can you talk a little bit about after a use? So you've got a single needle.
Yes.
How do you anticipate if you need multiple uses in a year, which unfortunately I've had to deal with?
Right. So the first thing would be the 2 straps. There would be 2 doses in that, and that's your second dose. Otherwise, the strap would be considered just the way that an EpiPen is. So if you use one, you can buy another one, and it can be like another attachment onto the watch face itself. And so if you go through a strap, you can buy some sort of like a replenisher of the device as like a second use, but hopefully that would not need to be something that's very prevalent, considering you'd have 2 doses on you at all times.
Wonderful. Thank you, Gori. We're going to have to conclude with this one. And I just want to remind the audience, these are 3 student teams. Wonderful, wonderful job. Judges, we will see you at the very end. You can go ahead and turn off your camera and microphone. With that, I'd like to welcome Mary back up to the stage and apologize for an interruption.
It's okay. We're a team. All right. We've got a featured speaker now. Our friend Neela Molgaard is going to give us a bit of an update on Launch Minnesota. She is the executive director working to create an environment which supports entrepreneurs and nurtures tech startups with the goal of fostering an innovation ecosystem across the state that draws global attention, talent, and capital. Neela, please address the audience.
Hello, it's great to join you today. This event is always very inspiring, though I do wish we were all gathered in Rochester. As Mary said, I'm Neela Molgaard, the Executive Director of Launch Minnesota, an initiative of our state's Agency of Employment and Economic Development. We empower and elevate Minnesota's innovation ecosystem. We connect, convene, and catalyze entrepreneurial efforts across the state by providing access to capital. We have $1.5 million in grants for all of you pitching today each year. We also have the Angel Tax Credit and work with our private investors across the state and beyond our borders. Statewide connectivity, such as our Launch Minnesota network, which I see many of the participants are partners on this. It's a first of its kind hub and spoke model, linking 8 hubs and over 80 programs, organizations together that all focus on startups and helping our entrepreneurs. And then we also provide training and access to expertise through our partners across the state, like the University of Minnesota, MNSBAR, and others on this call. This event really emulates our mission. Innovators, higher ed institutions, investors, the private sector, entrepreneurial support organizations, all gathered today, working together to accelerate the launch of new technologies. Today, I do want to acknowledge and thank Jamie Sensbach, for his service. It is his last day at Collider, which he's led for years. He's leaving to join Mayo Clinic Platform Accelerate. And I have just had the fortune to work with him and have seen firsthand his incredible leadership in the local, regional, and statewide startup community. He is a strong, fierce advocate for entrepreneurs and a trusted partner to many. His dedication and the work of entrepreneurial support orgs like Collider are really vital to our economy and to our future. So just thank you, Jamie, for all you've done. To our entrepreneurs who are pitching or joining virtually, please know in Minnesota, you are surrounded by people and organizations that are here to support your entrepreneurial journey and truly want to see you succeed. Thanks to Mary and Raina for hosting this event and for your partnership with Launch Minnesota. Together, I'm confident we will make Minnesota the the best place to start and scale new ventures. Thanks, and I look forward to hearing the next pitches.
Thanks so much, Neela. Always great to hear what's going on at Launch Minnesota. All right, now we move on to the mid-level reelers. So I'm going to call the judges up to the stage now, starting with Ning Gao. Ning, please turn on your camera and microphone and join me on the stage. Ning is a seasoned digital executive dedicated to advancing digital health with meaningful and measurable impact. She has extensive experience in both startups and Fortune 100 organizations across healthcare, telecom, e-commerce, financial services, and automobile. She is an innovator and tech partner for building AI, ML, and cloud-native solutions. Ning is Vice Chair for Emerging Products for the Center of Digital Health at Mayo Clinic. Welcome, Ning. Awesome. Good to see you. Next up is Raven Miller. Raven is an energetic, super energetic, and results-driven healthcare professional with a proven track record of success, agility, and leadership. She's the Vice President of Portfolio Strategy and Business Development at Medtronic. Welcome back, Raven. Thanks so much. Turn your computer and your microphone on. There you go. Hey. Our next walleye is Brian Clark. Brian is a senior manager in global technology partnerships at Boston Scientific. In his current role, his focus is on identifying and developing new solutions that solve unmet clinical needs and fostering growth in white space areas. He additionally dedicates time to the healthcare entrepreneurial community through Boston Scientific's sponsorship of G-Beta MedTech Accelerator. Welcome back, Brian. Turn your computer. Turn your microphone and camera on. There you go. Hey, these people are awesome. All right, our final walleye is Dr. Timothy Nelson. Dr. Nelson is a physician scientist trained in medicine and cardiac developmental biology. He's the director of the Todd and Karen Wanek Family Program, Hypoplastic Left Heart Syndrome, and regional director of research innovation at Mayo Clinic, Northwestern Wisconsin. Welcome, Dr. Nelson. There you are. Great. Everything's working out. All right. Our first walleye team is FreeNav, Brian Betchard. Brian, will you please share your screen, turn your camera on and your microphone on? And judges, you can mute yourself until it's time for Q&A, just so there's less background noise. Brian, there you are.
All right.
All right.
Can you see?
I can see you. Cannot see your slides yet.
All right, let's give this a try.
Great.
Okay.
You can start whenever you're ready. I'll start.
Great. Well, thank you, Mary, Raina, and the organizers, and thank you, Walleyes. I'm really grateful for the opportunity to tell you about FreeNav today and what we are calling wireless GPS for the body. So imagine for a minute that your family member or loved one needs an urgent medical procedure. Their physician, their ability to identify and treat the condition is vital to a successful outcome. And among clinical imaging, navigation systems are used to track surgical tools and diagnostic instruments, ensuring that accurately delivered. Unfortunately, the sensors used with today's navigation systems, they're expensive to manufacture, to integrate into instruments. They're subject to failure, adding precious time and putting patient safety at risk. And they're incompatible for many needed applications due to their limited wire. Fortunately, there's a solution. FreeNav is producing an electromagnetic tracking system available today. Our tiny, unpowered, completely wireless tags can be designed in or easily attached to instruments and integrate with navigation systems. They can be produced at a fraction of the cost, $1. This not only simplifies clinical workflow and reliability, but will substantially increase the number of available therapeutic uses, removing barriers to healthcare access for more people around the world. We expect that FreeNav will disrupt the current EM tracking market. Customers value the product attributes that we clearly have advantage over our competition, and we are nearing the convergence point in the classic technology curve. Demand for this technology is higher than ever. Conversations between FreeNav and me continue to reinforce the desire to acquire and integrate this technology, and our approach is protected through patents and trade secrets. All from our amazing team, the strength and experience of FreeNav leadership, a world-class development team, and the valuable local partnerships with organizations like the event today. So thank you for this opportunity. And
Very good. Thank you. Judges, do you have any questions?
Great presentation, Brian. I guess I'll jump in with the first question. Could you speak a little bit to the stage of development, and in particular, what data you might have around accuracy compared to traditional EM sensors?
yeah, thank you. So the initial patent was filed 4 years ago. There's been a significant amount of work, over about $1 million of in-kind investment and technical development since that time. And really with earnest in about the last 18 to 24 months, we've gotten to the point where we are on par, at parity with current systems, current wired systems. So we have also, moving forward, a pretty detailed development plan that outlines our phases over the next, what we expect to be about 30 months.
Brian, what's the regulatory environment on a device like this, trying to be a platform across many devices? How do you manage the multiple regulatory pathways of multiple devices?
Yeah, great question, Tim. It's really consistent with how the current market players are addressing it. And so what you would see if you go to any of the websites of the competitors that I listed there, NDI, Polhemus, and Radwave, is the same approach that we're taking, which it's really the responsibility of the device or instrument manufacturer to take it through the regulatory pathway. And so we're providing those components of the devices, and how they're used is really up to them. I will say that everything's being designed to the levels of specifications that allow them to be, the ISO certifications and everything else that are part of that, really the table stakes needed for any implantable devices, instrumentation, or navigation systems.
Okay.
Hey, Brian, great presentation. Do you see any changes to workflow? Do you see any
Sure, I'll jump in with another question. What are your biggest risks? What's the catch, right? Like lower costs, as good of accuracy, no wires, it's wireless. What keeps you up at night?
Yeah, honestly, where to begin? So many opportunities. We've been approached, like I mentioned, by a number of significant players, and really it's, do we go after the existing market first and displace and disrupt, or do we go after completely new opportunities where there are devices that just are uncensored today because of unsensorized rather, because of the limitations of the wired sensors? Sorry, Raven, you had a question as well.
Yeah, I was just asking, do you see any benefit in workflow efficiencies, and or have you seen how this performs in different body cavities?
Yeah, so that tells a great story, and just in terms of the simplicity that's gained and the lack of failure modes that are now possible as a result of having unwired. It's not unusual for wires to fracture or break during, or be a problem during the setup. And a clinician's environment, frankly, is already very complicated. There's a lot going on, and so if you can eliminate that complexity and the additional risk, and risk to the patient as well, compromised sterile field is something that's possible when devices fail. And so, yes, absolutely, that's a big piece of it. Sorry, the second part of your question?
We're out of time. We're out of time. That's okay. All right. Thank you,
Thanks
Brian.
again.
All right. Nice job. All right. Next up, we've got Michael Seffrin with SoulView. Michael, will you please join the stage, turn your camera and microphone on, and share your screen?
Well, Mary, can you hear me?
Yes. I can't see your screen yet.
Sure. I'm trying to get that share. All right, here we go. All right, should be up.
Okay, take it away when you're ready.
All right. Just trying to get back to my starting slide. Technical issues today, unfortunately.
Okay, we built in a little extra time for technical issues. You're good.
Thank you. should be back to it. Here we go. All right, well, thank you, everyone. My name is Michael Sefrin, and I'm a co-founder of SoulView, whose main purpose or mission is to help neuropathic diabetics prevent lower limb amputations one step at a time. So the problem is that ulcers and lesions develop on these diabetics' feet, and that can quickly lead to amputations, and sometimes within a few days. Thus, they are instructed by their doctor to inspect their feet every single morning or at night before they go to bed. And these amputations are very prevalent within the diabetic community. In 2016 alone, there was about a $6.5 billion cost to patients and insurers from amputations on diabetic feet. And we think that we have the solution. The SoulView box is a shoebox size box that has a camera inside that kind of transmits an image through a camera to a viewing screen that one can manipulate in front of their face. With our MVP, we put that into my co-founder's clinic, and we got some good results. When asked, does the device aid in seeing the bottom of your feet? We got an average rating of 4.7 out of 5, meaning that, in my mind, that people really thought that it helped see the bottom of their feet. The patients that we're really talking about are elderly diabetics with neuropathy, people who maybe struggle with obesity or arthritis or have bad eyesight, right? All these different comorbidities that come with diabetes. The next slide. So the team is myself. I've got a mechanical engineering degree, and I've been a medical device engineer since about 2014. And my co-founder is Dr. Duda Sperling, who has been a practicing podiatrist for 30 years and also has a very successful YouTube channel with over 100 million views, and she's up to 190 subscribers as of yesterday. The market is fairly large for neuropathic diabetics that are greater than 65 years old, and an assumed device cost of roughly $350. We have a US market of roughly 2.5 billion. And when you look to global, the diabetes problem kind of becomes 10x, whatever that is. So we've assumed that everyone that is over 65 struggles to see the bottom of their feet. And we think that kind of we're positioned appropriately right now because our competition isn't addressing the technology challenges that the elderly have, and also other competition. They're using a method of ulcer detection that I don't think has really proven itself yet, and from what I've read, seems to have some false positives.
Michael, we just got a couple seconds left here.
Okay, and then the business model is very simple, product-based company, and we've done a couple use studies, or we're doing a use study right now, going to a product development, sales testing, product finalization, and then we'll kind of shift, after our launch, we'll shift towards a higher tech medical device option, including some AI and communication with physicians. And that is SoulView. Thanks.
Great. We've got about a minute for Q&A. Judges, do you have any questions?
So Michael, it seems like it's necessary to see the bottom of your foot for this problem, but not sufficient. Can you talk about what other analytics could be applied to make this more usable than just visualizing the foot?
Well, visualizing the foot has been the gold standard that's been done for the last 30 or 40 years. Often podiatrists right now are just saying, just look at your feet. If you see anything different, come in, right? And so that's what's being used. I think that there are other companies out there trying to use thermometry and like heat mapping to determine if there's an infection or whatnot, but that doesn't always, it doesn't always work out the best, especially when like you come out of the shower or your feet are cold from being outside. So I think that you're really just looking for a change in the bottom of your foot. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it seems like there's that change is quantifying the change is really important and not just capturing static images. And so I was wondering how.
Oh yeah, so we'll have the ability to look, especially, so our new prototype that's being pushed out today, actually, we're going to have the ability to look at yesterday's foot and view it with today's foot to see, all right, is a red dot showing there? Is my skin a little blue or red in this area? Do I have a cut on the bottom of my foot? So being able to look back is important.
Great. All right. We should probably move on to the next person. Really nice job, Michael. Cool idea. All right. Next up, we've got Scott Carpenter with Boundary.
Have you been able to gather any information as far as what people will actually pay for the device?
We're a little early for that.
Okay. All right. Scott, good to see you. Please share your screen. Wonderful.
Should be visible. Is that visible now?
Yes, it is. Please go ahead.
Great, thanks. So dementia affects some 8 million families across the US. While the disease is devastating for the afflicted loved one, it places huge burdens on family caregivers, often called dementia's invisible second patients. In the US, 85% of dementia patients live at home, cared for by an army of 20 million caregivers, an average of 3 per patient. They're responsible for the loved one's safety and well-being while managing their own lives and careers, leading to overwhelming stress. 18% of spousal caregivers will die before their loved one. Many others suffer from stress-related illnesses that can make it ever harder to meet their obligations. Monitoring devices can help. The problem is that existing solutions are tied to the unreliable technology of outdated single-purpose devices. At Boundary Care, we've made the first and only downloadable dementia monitoring app for smartwatches. Rather than compete with Apple, we collaborate with them. We've worked closely with members of the Apple Watch Health team. Our features beat the competition across the board, and because it's an app, we have 0 manufacturing or distribution costs, and it can be covered by many insurance policies. Here's how it works. A loved one wears an Apple Watch and no other action is necessary. At a glance, caregivers get details about the location and vitals of the loved one, and if the loved one exits a safe zone or suffers a fall, caregivers receive an alert they can act upon, calling the loved one or launching emergency tracking. The product is the brainchild of a father and son team with firsthand experience in caregiving. When we couldn't find a solution that satisfied our needs, we decided to make it. A professor at Carleton College, I also ran a tech startup for 10 years, operating mostly in the Apple ecosystem. Carpenter is a software engineer specializing in iOS. Our go-to-market strategy involves contracts with insurers and large caregiving organizations, and it's already happening. With the help of Apple, we're in discussions to make Boundary Care available to the 400,000 members of CDPHP, a New York-based health insurer. This positions us well for the seed round we have just begun. Thanks very much. Happy to take your questions.
Thanks for staying within 2 minutes, almost exactly. Judges, questions?
Love the presentation. How do you account for the 50% of patients who might be on the Android system and patients who might not be able to afford the Apple Watch?
Yeah, so first of all, the Apple Watch is not as expensive as people think it is. So prices of smartwatches overall have been dropping. The Apple Watch SE is $329. And in certain cases, the cost of that watch will be covered by insurance, especially long-term care insurance. You're right, though, that there is that other platform out there. And our first step is, so we have scoped for development an Android client for caregivers so that in caregiver circles, if not everybody is on iPhone, then they can use an Android phone. And then the next step, of course, will be to make the watch app for Android-based smartwatches. So that's certainly part of the scope. But we're starting with the Apple Watch because that's where our strongest partnership is.
Any other questions? Otherwise, we'll move on. Okay, let's move on. Thank you, Scott.
What data do you have on retention of your current customers that are using the device?
Yeah, that's great. So we have not had, the app is available on the App Store. We're bringing in B2C customers, and we are at something like 97% in terms of retention since we released the full version. People can subscribe monthly or take out a 3 or 6 month subscription. So we've had really good luck with that and getting good reviews in the App Store.
Okay, thanks, Scott. All right,
I
appreciate your pitching. Let's bring on the fourth and last mid-level team to pitch. This will be Chuck Dennis of Urinary Technology Corp. Chuck, you can turn your microphone and camera on and share your screen. Scott, you can turn yours off. Thanks.
Working on it.
Hello,
Yeah.
I assume you can hear me at this point?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. You see my screen?
Yes, you're a little bit muffled though.
Oh, does this help?
Yes.
Okay.
Thanks.
Hi, I'm Chuck Dennis. I'm here with Urinary Technologies Corp. We're developing new diagnostic and antibiotic tests for urinary tract infections. UTIs are painful, they are expensive, and the initial treatment of, yes.
We can't see your screen. Share your slides.
Oh, all right. I thought you could. Just a moment. Let me start
It's
over.
okay. It's all good.
Oh, I see. It wasn't shared. Sorry. I thought it was.
It's all right.
So let me start here. Again, I'm Chuck Dennis with Urinary Tract Infections, or Urinary Technologies Corp. We're developing new diagnostic and antibiotic tests for urinary tract infections. UTIs are painful, they are expensive, and the initial treatment does not work over half the time. The diagnostic test is a multi-billion-dollar test, surprisingly, but not when you understand that this is the second most common infectious disease in the world. The test for UTIs hasn't changed in over 70 years, and that's the problem. The test basically is smearing urine on a petri dish, letting it grow for a while and see what grows. Then take samples of what grew, put it on more petri dishes with antibiotics, and figure out which antibiotics work. The problem is that process takes 2 to 3 days. As a result, clinicians typically do not run the tests. They just prescribe a new antibiotic and send the patient home. The problem that practice has resulted in rampant antibiotic resistance in this space, and the antibiotic does not work half the time. Our solution to this is a better, faster test. What we know in the past is that just 9 species of bacteria actually cause about 99% of UTIs. We can test for those with probes instead of needing to use a petri dish to look for anything and everything. That's much, much faster. In addition, we can run antibiotic tests in small wells, which lets us do them just as fast. So the result is we get an answer back to the doctor within less than 2 hours. That lets the doctor prescribe the right antibiotic the first time. Development wise, we have a strong proof of concept with high sensitivity and specificity. We are in the process of developing our core components, and we anticipate US launch about 2 years after funding. We have assembled a very strong technical, regulatory, and business team, and we are looking for $1.25 billion. I'd be happy to take your questions at this time.
You stayed within 2 minutes. Judges, any questions?
Chuck, how do you describe the antibiotic resistance better? I can appreciate the diagnostics, but I'm confused on the antibiotic resistant component.
So most antibiotics, traditionally we grow them on petri dishes because that was the only way humans could see them. They actually act within a relatively short period of time when they have a small sample. And so we can put them in a well, put the sample in the well in a very small well, 10 micron well, with antibiotics, and then test for living organisms and figure out which wells have no living organisms in them. Those antibiotics obviously worked.
Some pretty nice claims, strong claims around improvement in accuracy and detection. Is there any way that you're able to prove that out? And is there a way then, based on that differential, that you could drive that to standard of care? And what would that process look like?
Yes, we actually have already done a proof of concept. We have tested, just to test the general concept, we used off-the-shelf things that we could buy to test and then modified them and then ran our tests, and we got results that were quite dramatic. In terms of how do you use that to penetrate the market, we would actually expect to go first into hospitals where catheter-associated urinary tract infections, CAUTIs, are a significant concern because it affects Medicare reimbursement. It also costs the hospitals about $13,000 per patient unreimbursed because it shouldn't happen. And so we think we can use that data to go into the hospitals very quickly, and then over time work our way out to the individual medical practices where obviously you have a lot more people you have to reach. So it would take longer.
Okay, time's up. Thank you, Chuck. I am now going to bring back Raina to moderate the professionals division. If possible. Raina?
Hi, I would actually like to bring Pat Dillon to the stage. Pat is going to showcase our SBIR, STTR programs here in Minnesota. So Pat, would you like to come join us on stage?
Yes, I think you can see me, and can you hear me?
Yes, wonderful. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you very much for the opportunity to be here today. Let me get to my notes here before I get going. So good afternoon, everyone, and thank you again to Rena and Mary for your invitation to share a brief overview of the Minnesota SBIR and STTR Accelerator. At the Accelerator, we help startups and small businesses to transform their high-risk, high-impact technologies into marketable products and services that solve problems. Since our founding in 2014, we have facilitated more than $55 million in SBIR, STTR non-dilutive funding that is often leveraged with angel and venture capital investments to grow the firm and support product commercialization. Last year, we facilitated about $13 million in funding to support early stage product R&D across many important industrial sectors in Minnesota. And we're especially happy to be part of the Launch Minnesota network and very thrilled that we actually have a matching program in the state to support our first time SBIR and STTR awardees. So we know how complex and difficult it is to navigate the federal R&D arena. And we have decades of demonstrated knowledge and connections across 11 federal agencies to make the journey less stressful for our new applicants. We spend most of our time working with startups and small businesses that are pursuing funding through the Department of Defense, the Department of Health and Human Services, which is often referred to as NIH, and then the National Science Foundation. Our services are free and confidential, and we are funded in part by the U.S. Small Business Administration, a grant from the Minnesota Department of Employment and Economic Development, funding and support from the University of Minnesota Technology Commercialization and the Home Center for Entrepreneurship, and the Mayo Clinic Office of Entrepreneurship. And we are hosted by the Minnesota Technology Association. So I encourage all the entrepreneurs that are presenting today, if you want to learn more about SBIR, certainly reach out to me and we can have a conversation.
Thank you so much, Pat. We work a lot with Pat on the SBIR. She even helps teach a class in the Office of Entrepreneurship here at Mayo for us. So thank you so much, Pat, for joining us. Make sure if you could use her resources and all she is doing for our state, take note of her name and try and find her during the table area and when we network at the end. So thanks so much, Pat.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, with that, we are going to the professional judges, the professional walleyes, we are going to start with Dr. Brandon Moriarty. He is an associate professor in the Department of Pediatrics at the University of Minnesota. Through this work, he has developed the skills and knowledge to perform technology transfer of genome editing approaches to GMP production facilities, a critical step towards clinical translation of cellular-based cancer immunity. Dr. Moriarty has also founded 4 biotechnology companies. Welcome for the first time, Dr. Moriarty.
Thanks.
Our next is Ann Schulte. Go ahead and turn your camera and microphone on. Ann Schulte has over 20 years of experience in developing and implementing corporate, product, and commercial strategies and leading growth initiatives. She is adept at evaluating new business opportunities, monitoring industry trends, and optimizing investment for long-term revenue growth. She has received recognition for mentoring from both the Minnesota Cup and the Medical Industry Leadership Institute, and is the executive advisor for business emerging from the University of Minnesota via the Discovery Launchpad. Welcome, Ann.
Thank you.
Our next judge is Dr. Perry Hackett Jr. Dr. Hackett is a professor of genetics, cell biology, and development, a co-founder of the Center for Genome Engineering, and a founder director of the Biotechnology Initiative for Innovation, Collaboration, and Entrepreneurship at the University of Minnesota. He is a co-founder of 3 genome engineering companies. Welcome back, Dr. Hackett.
Thank you.
Our final judge, I'm not sure he will be able to join us via video, but if he can, I'm Ran Nusarala. is an outcomes-driven biopharmaceutical leader, recognized for delivering innovation and being creative, dynamic, and cross-functionally capable. He leads Bayer Pharmaceuticals' Open Innovation Center for the East Coast and is responsible for early access to technology and co-creation of new companies. He drives several mentoring and partnering programs he created there at Bayer. Welcome, Imran, to our judging staff today. With that, we will start our first company. Would Irene Waldridge of Eva MedTech please take the stage?
Okay, let me see this. Share, and that's on. I won't be able to see you while I'm doing this, but I'll just go ahead. Can you hear me?
I can hear you and see your screen.
Okay. I'm Irene Waldridge. I'm the founder and the CEO at Eva MedTech. Pain and stress is a big problem, and it can cause a lack of sleep. It's a serious health problem that costs $400 billion annually. There is no one product that can help with pain, stress, and sleep altogether. FDA cleared NeuroGlide system activates the body's natural ability to relax, relieve pain, and recover. In addition, we developed add-on therapy attachments to launch in the future. We conducted a study that tracked sleep biometrics on 8 people. This graphic shows one example. Sleep recovery was 42% before and 76% after using our NeuroGlide. The NeuroGlide is currently being used at a prestigious clinic to reduce severe pain associated with cancer treatment. Preliminary results indicate a reduction of opioid use, fibromyalgia pain, and tension headaches. People are suffering now more than ever before. The pandemic is causing headaches, stress, and a lack of sleep, and more. I have 20 plus years experience with manual techniques to reduce swelling and pain, and I know the anatomy and the physiology of the body to know how to treat these conditions. Our patented methods follow principles of a therapy that allows to activate your body's natural ability to relax, relieve pain, and recover. My first company was Tactile Medical, and they achieved an IPO and a market cap of $1.2 billion at one point, and the stock was $76 per share before the pandemic, which I'm very proud of. We are at Eva MedTech, we are a highly successful team of expert clinicians, FDA quality control experts, marketing, and manufacturing. The combination of pain and stress and sleep is the market is $400 billion annually.
All right, our time is up. Judges, would you like to ask your questions?
Is Irene still here? She appears to have froze up.
So I have questions, but we've lost quite a bit.
Well, let's go ahead and we'll move on to our next presenter. And if we have time, we'll bring Irene back on for her questions.
Okay.
So our next presenter is Laura Zimbrunin of Eye Control Health, Inc. Go ahead, Laura, start to share your screen and your microphone and camera on, please.
Sure. So thank you, Dr. Hale. I'm really excited to be here. So I've seen chemotherapy impact the quality of life in my family. We help people keep their hair from chemotherapy by cooling their scalp. And this treatment is an option for 600,000 people per year. To explain how our treatment works, I'd like to share Tiffany's story from our clinical trial. Tiffany had her own Hair Guardian system. She would put on her cap about 30 minutes before chemo and gradually cool down to a temperature that blocked the chemo from her hair cells. Tiffany wore her cap all during chemo, and when it ended, she was able to leave her clinic and continue cooling, often finishing up on her long ride home. The portability, which allows for a longer hair savings treatment, along with a custom fit cap, create a superior user experience. Current methods to preserve hair aren't where they need to be. For example, you may need to spend up to 8 hours cooling in the clinic to be effective, and this just isn't practical for clinics. Hair Guardian is thermally fail-safe, so frostbite's impossible. Its high efficacy is because of a custom fit cap combined with solving the problem of cooling away from the clinic. We have an experienced team. Mike is a strong technical lead and business leader, and our medical advisor is also a former Hair Guardian user. Our advisory team and other organizations have been very helpful. It really does take a village. Now is the perfect time for our patented technology to set the standard for saving hair from chemotherapy. And in January, Medicare releases a reimbursement code for scalp cooling. During our clinical trials and with no advertising, people called me, some in tears, asking to use Hair Guardian. So thank you, and I'm happy to address any questions.
Wonderful, thank you. Judges?
Laura, I'm wondering whether or not you ran a real clinical trial or whether or not you were just looking at whether or not there was a market for your product. But a bigger question I have is, how complicated is compliance in order to fulfill this? You didn't give us any idea on how often, how long, et cetera, to complete a program like this.
Okay, sure. Yes, we did do clinical trials and have proven efficacy. And it works by cooling for every chemo session. You can't miss any. And we collect data for compliance. So 2/3 of the cooling took place outside the clinic, and we collect data in the cloud so we can determine compliance.
I had a question about the size of the units. It looked like they were pulling around a small cooler behind them. What is people's perception of kind of lugging that around? Is there plans to miniaturize that?
Yes, we have advanced from our clinical trial model, and it is smaller. It is smaller than carry-on luggage, but about that. So people are very comfortable with carry-on luggage. It's very similar.
What's the alternative for the patient?
Losing their hair, if you mean that. It is losing your hair, which
What are the alternative treatments?
Alternative treatments are, right now, the only thing I'm familiar with to save your hair is scalp cooling. If that's what you're asking, there are facility-based systems already in existence where the system resides in the clinic. And then there are manual gel caps that are not FDA approved and will likely never be approved because of safety issues.
Wonderful, thank you. We will conclude with that. Our
Thank
next
you.
competitor is Global Laser Reach, and that is presented by Dr. Nolan Heats. Nolan, go ahead and turn your camera and microphone on and share your slides. Nolan. Go ahead and turn your camera and microphone on. Obviously, this is a technical platform and we're all experiencing some difficulties, but hopefully we can get him on. If you're having problems, go ahead and send something in the chat. We can always move to the next one and come back.
He's clearly having issues. He appears on the list and disappears. He's popping in and out.
Oh, good. I'm not even seeing him on the list. So perfect. We will move on and come back to Nolan. So let's go with Herald Therapeutics. Let's welcome Dr. David Ingbar to the stage. David, you can turn on your camera and microphone and share your screen. All right, pro teams, not going so hot. We did practice this beforehand. All right, Dr. Ingbar.
Let's see here. I think this will work. Can you see this now? It says my mic is on.
We can hear you.
It says my mic is on. You can't see my slides?
We cannot see your slides.
Oh, there we go. They're coming up.
Okay. Can you see them now?
We do not see slides. We see just a generic item from your screen or something.
Oh, okay. I just stopped sharing. Let me retry it. I'm back to the platform. I'm hitting share. I'm looking for the window. I'm sharing the PowerPoint. Can you see that?
Nope.
Something. It says I'm sharing PowerPoint, I thought.
All we're getting is a silhouette icon and David Ingbar, MD, University of Minnesota.
Weird.
And it does say competitor's screen, but there's nothing on it.
Because I see my PowerPoint presentation up.
David, when you do your share screen, go ahead and select the whole screen. Don't select a window. Just share your entire screen and then bring PowerPoint up.
Okay, try that.
Let's see if that works.
Okay. How's that? Any luck?
No.
Weird.
All right. Well, we do have slides that I can email the judges if we want to go ahead and do the 2-minute pitch. So listen and go ahead, Dr. Ingbar, and you can pitch, and I will email the newest slides to the judges.
Rena, I think we have his slides. Do you want to just show those for him?
You have them, but I actually have changed them. But why don't I go through what I've got? It's the same material, basically. It's rearranged a little bit, but I think it'll work fine.
Let's just move ahead.
So is that a let's go?
Go for it.
Okay, I will do so. I'm going to be a little desynchronized with the slides just because things are mildly rearranged, but that's fine. I am ready. Tell me when to go and I'll start.
Go ahead.
Okay, good afternoon. I'm David Ingbar. I'm delighted to present on behalf of Herald Therapeutics and the University of Minnesota. Our team includes Dr. Timothy Rich, Dr. Robert Schumacher, Dan McKenna, Drew Backstrand, and myself. We are interested in using thyroxine, a novel lung-directed therapy for the acute respiratory distress syndrome. ARDS is a life-threatening form of severe lung injury with a mortality of 40% and occurring in about 200,000 people per year in the US. It's triggered by many different things, including COVID. And at present, there is no current medical therapy for ARDS. Our approach is to use a special formulation of the naturally occurring potent thyroid hormone T3 to replete the lung to decrease lung damage and speed healing. The basis of this is that human ARDS lung tissue has markedly reduced levels of T3, and T3 benefits lung injury by multiple mechanisms in animal models. Our accomplishments today include publishing the preclinical toxicology showing this treatment is safe. We have FDA approval and have opened a phase 1/2 clinical trial directly instilling T3 into human lungs for ARDS. We've completed phase 1 with the first patient treated with COVID ARDS in March 2020 at Essentia Duluth, and we're now enrolling patients in phase 2. We've enrolled 7 T3 treated patients and 2 controls. 5 of the 7 T3 treated patients have survived and are out of the hospital. We have observed no significant treatment-related side effects. The opportunity presented by thyroxine is to have the first medical therapy for a highly lethal disease. We believe it is very safe using a local treatment with a natural hormone with no side effects seen to date. We are already developing a broad national and international IP profile. We believe this opportunity is de-risked by potential benefit for a number of other disease indications. So our ask is to identify and work with strategic partners with vision and to further develop relationships for partnering, including Big Pharma, and to acquire funding to carry out phase 2A and 2B randomized clinical trials, and to further the research and development to treat other diseases and to protect the patents. Thank you very much for your attention.
Could you discuss the nature of your intellectual property? How much is around the molecule versus the delivery, et cetera?
Excellent question. The intellectual property comes in a couple different forms. One is the formulation that I mentioned. The second is that this is the very first and only time that thyroid hormone has been directly delivered to the lung. And the other part is the disease indications, specifically for ARDS and lung inflammation. So it's a combination of both formulation, indication, and usage. And the patent profile is on one of the backup slides, which you do not have, but I'll just tell you that have been filed, some at various stages, include a variety of ways of administering the compound, including direct instillation, which no one else has applied for patents for, and also for a variety of different disease states in addition to ARDS.
When you look at your formulation patent, you've spoken about thyroxine not being used in this manner. How challenging is it for someone to achieve the same mechanism while not violating your patent estate in terms of the formulation?
Yeah, this has been it's a great question. This has been a point of concern. And Dr. Schumacher, who heads the Center for Translational Medicine at the U, is working on other ways to formulate it, as well as drug analogs for this reason. But the formulation is actually very difficult. It took the pharmacists several months to be able to reliably achieve the formulation that was safe. And when it was improperly formulated in our toxicology and animal models, animals died quickly. So it's really key. It's not something that is go home and your lab or even your local pharmacy.
I'm going to have
do you have a business team?
I'm sorry?
Finish up, Perry.
Do you have a business team?
I didn't read to you the bios of the two people. Dan McKenna has significant venture startup experience, and he's been CEO of several companies, and Drew Backstrand has both a legal and a fundraising background, as well as being a general counsel for private and public equity firms.
Wonderful. Thank you, Dr. Ingbar. Sorry for the mess. I will resend your slides to the judges just in case. And awesome, I'm going to bring on Dr. Tang. She present for North Shore Therapeutics. Go ahead and try and share your screen.
I think I am. Are you able to see it?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, great. So I'll start then. Hi, my name is Sunny Tang, and I'm a board certified psychiatrist, a schizophrenia researcher, and I'm also chief science officer for North Shore Therapeutics. Our flagship product targets negative symptoms in schizophrenia, which are problems with motivation and connection. They're the primary drivers of disability for our patients, and in the US, they cost hundreds of billions of dollars a year. Perhaps most importantly, they rob families of their loved ones, and they rob individuals of their aspirations. The field has developed some one-on-one treatments with some success, but we're nowhere near to being able to deliver treatment to everyone who needs it. However, with technology, there's hope for scalable solutions. These problems are driven by the sense that you're defeated and there's nothing you can do to be successful. Our product was designed to precisely and powerfully target this pathological feedback loop. We leverage augmented reality and a game-like design, which has been proven to engage patients and change behavior. With therapeutic prompts, we guide patients into repeated success experiences so they can relearn adaptive responses. And we're convinced this will work because there have been multiple clinical trials for cognitive therapy on its own, and we also see on MRI directly that immersive technology and gamification lights up key brain regions. We've built 2 prototypes so far, incorporating different elements of the design. And right now, we're looking for funding to take the prototype to the next stage and run a phase 1 clinical trial. Our market research shows that digital health and immersive technologies are a quickly expanding area of investment, and there's room for some major successes here. But perhaps most worthy of our investment is our team with some broad expertise, including world leaders in schizophrenia, a co-inventor of the cognitive therapy, experienced entrepreneurs, and tech experts. And that's all, and thank you very much.
I had a question if you have ways of protecting the different programs that you guys are developing as far as like an intellectual property perspective.
We have a patent application that's been filed and is under consideration.
Sunny, how often is this type of therapy applied? And how homogeneous is the schizophrenic community that kind of one approach fits all?
So the schizophrenia community, so we're, I mean, there's different ways in which people are homogeneous or not. Certainly, you know, everyone's different in terms of the specific relationships that they care about or the specific job or opportunity that they would have wanted. However, we do find there is homogeneity in terms of the key roadblocks to being able to achieve those successes. So myself as a clinician, and also there are 3 other very experienced clinicians on our team, we specialize in schizophrenia. And what we hear over and over again from people from all different ages, whether it's younger students or older people, that it's that they just don't feel like, they just don't believe that they can succeed. So then why try anyway? And, you know, and if you don't try, then that's just more feedback that there's, you know, because there's no success experiences, then it's just more learning that you're not capable of succeeding. And that kind of pattern is consistent between people.
One final question from the judges.
Why now?
Why now? Because we're with the smartphone technologies and with augmented reality, we finally have the technological elements that are both accessible and widely distributed enough that we can transform this clinically effective therapeutic into an effective digital therapeutic that can then be scalable and usable. People have been trying in the pharmaceutical industry to target this for decades, but I think the tools are really available now more than ever before.
Wonderful. Thank you, Dr. Tang. We will next bring up, we'll try again, Global Laser Reach with Dr. Nolan Heath. Go ahead, Nolan. There we go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's share your slides. Whenever you're ready.
Can you see the slides?
Yes.
Hello, I'm Dr. Nolan Hitz, CEO of Global Laser Reach. For the last 30 years, I practiced gynecology and female, concentrating my practice on chronic pelvic and bladder pain. These two conditions cause pain and suffering in 29 million American women and 1.5 billion women worldwide. Still, today's treatments are very ineffective and cause lots of side effects. Most women undergo major surgeries that involve removing the ovaries, the uterus, and sometimes parts of the bladder, only to find that 40% of these women continue to have pain after surgery. These women have to go on either chronic opioid or suffer in silence. Well, in 2016, my career changed. Photon energy through the skin to treat chronic pain conditions. I decided to try this on my pelvic and bladder pain patients by carefully administering photon energy through the vaginal walls to get the energy closer to the diseases deep in the pelvis that we cannot surgically remove. I was shocked by the fact that I was able to put the majority of women into remission with 5 to 6 simple treatments. Today, I introduce the world's first vaginal photon delivery system with CO2 gas cooling. We will sell our patented Resalox therapy device to every hospital, gynecologist, urologist, and physical therapist on the planet. In addition, we will sell treatment packages to these healthcare providers for every woman who wishes to receive this revolutionary therapy. We are seeking an investor to jump on board with us to help carry this device through our clinical studies that will be starting this coming spring that will lead to commercialization at the end of 2023. I personally know that vaginal administered photon therapy will put the majority of women in remission, while my team at Global Laser Reach knows that our innovative Resalox therapy system will change the treatment paradigm for chronic bladder pain and pelvic pain worldwide very soon. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Judges?
Can this be applied to any pain? Is the principle that you're delivering heat rather than cooling like some of the others before you?
Well, that's the misconceived nature of what people think about high intensity photon therapy. But this is a little different in the sense that we're using 2 wavelengths at high intensity, using a cooling to cool the tissues that drive more photons deeper into the tissues. There's something going on here because it is amazing what happens if I can drop a woman's pelvic pain or bladder pain within 5 minutes of treatment, and with 6 treatments, put her in remission for months. So there's no world literature yet that anybody's used photon therapy through the vagina to get this energy closer to these tissues. And it's not heat. There's something else going on than heat that treats pelvic or bladder pain. There's plenty of literature out there about using photon therapy over through the skin, okay? But it's misconceived. Something's going on here because something's happening when you're properly administering the right dose and cooling the tissues.
But does this have application to pain in other areas of the body or only in the pelvic region when delivered
Other areas of the body.
transvaginally?
This vaginal probe can be put on the skin and do the same treatment. But what's interesting is this will be the world's only therapy that we can dwell over a spot because we're cooling the surface of the skin that will allow us to drive higher intensity photons deep in the tissues that cause pain. So
how do you, how do you see this, what size practice does a physician need to justify implementing this equipment?
Well, we will be charging a package of 1,900 6 treatment sessions. If that same person is sent to the physical therapist, which is the typical 12 treatments, they will spend $3,200. Okay, so they can still charge $3,000. We get $1,900. But the size of the practice, this could be in every hospital, every clinic.
So you're pricing it based on sessions delivered.
Right. Physical therapy departments, urologist departments, gynecologist departments, pain clinics. Okay.
Dr. Heats, we're going to have to cut you off there. We thank you so much. We are going to try and bring back on Irene if she can join us. Thank you. Irene, if you can join us, then the judges can give you a couple of questions following your presentation.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And I'm very sorry, our whole entire Wi-Fi went down. And basically because there was other people here that was on there. So, okay, go ahead. I welcome your questions.
So A, what is the patent protection around your device? And B, why is NeuroGlide superior to other devices on the market?
Okay, well, the patent covers the therapy pad itself, and then on how it's put together. It's got a support pad, and then it's got inflatable bladders laying in there. And nobody's done that before, where you have inflatable bladders nestled inside of a support pad, supports your neck. It treats your whole back from your tailbone all the way up to your neck. And then the valve module that I invented to drive the inflatable sequencing is very inexpensive compared to what I've done in the past. And then the controller unit. And so the whole method of treatment is mimicking manual lymphatic drainage therapy principles. The stretch and release pressure, it helps not only relieve the swelling, but it reduces pain. And then it also, excuse me, it also affects the autonomic nervous system. So we're finding that if we track with a wearable, people are recovering from their sleep a whole lot better than I've ever seen.
So do they need to use this at the therapist's office, or do they use this at home?
Well, it's designed to be at home use.
Okay.
But therapists are purchasing it and they're using it in a clinic in their practice, and they're finding out that it's an adjunct to actually treating lymphedema, which I used to do at my first company, Tactile. But we don't treat lymphedema with my product, but it does activate the lymphatic vessels and the lymph nodes in the entire back, which is really good because that's where the fluid moves. It gets into the thoracic duct, and it's very important to treat the trunk first before you treat a leg.
Is this a rental or a sale model?
It's a sale. It's a sale, and we've had 46 orders that we've sent out, and some were from a physician, a pain management physician. He's into the brain and spinal care, and we have 3 workman's comp claims that have been paid for so far.
Any other questions, judges? All right. With that, thank you. We conclude the professional division. All right, judge, microphone off. And even though we have had many technical difficulties today, we are still right on time. And so we are going to actually send everyone back to the floor to go network for a few minutes while the judges deliberate. Judges, please head up to the 4th floor and find your table labeled with your division title. You can then have 10 or 15 minutes, we'll see, to deliberate on who are the winners of the prize money. For everyone else, we would like you to join us in using Slido for the crowd favorite. So I will be putting that in the chat while we are at the floor. If you have any questions, feel free to find someone at the help boat at the very bottom. Otherwise, enjoy your networking time before we bring back the winners.
Be here in a minute and we'll announce the winners. Here you are.
Go ahead, Mary.
Okay, great. So welcome back. We are pleased to announce the winners, the professional division. I think there would have been some arm wrestling if they were in person in the same room. But we will start with the junior division, the junior/student division, which ended up being all students. And the winner is Car Seal with Derek Prosner. Woo! Everybody join me. Nice job, Derek. You did a great job.
Congratulations, Car Seal.
Indeed. It was a great pitch. All right. In a more hotly contested competition for the mid-level reelers, there was a a lot of discussion around who was best in this division. The runner-up is Boundary Care with Scott Carpenter.
Congratulations, Boundary Care.
And the winner is FreeNav with Brian Bouchard. Congratulations. And the professional division, Raina, who won there?
All right. So like you said, it was intense. It was a very, very intense discussion. But the runner-up for the professional division is Globalizer. So congratulations to Nolan and his team. And the $10,000 prize will go to Dr. David Ingbar for Herald Therapeutics. So no slides, but still a compelling pitch. Congratulations to Herald Therapeutics.
Great. So thank you everybody for joining us today. We're still negotiating the date for the next Walleye Tank, which will be sometime in May or early June, depending on schedules and availability. And we are planning for it to be in person. So watch out for a big party. It'll be great to see all of your lovely faces again. Anything else you want to say, Raina?
Feel free, everyone, to stay on and network. This is your time if you would like to talk to the competitors, to talk to judges who have been deliberating. Feel free to go around the platform and network as if we were in person, but virtually. And again, congratulations to all of the teams. Thank you so much, everyone, for participating with us on this December Friday for the 2021 Walleye Tank Ice Fishing Edition.
Yay. Bye.